guys so much for being on this call. I'm really excited to be here today as well. And my name, just so you know, is Kerri Gatto, and I'm with Big Picture Realty, which is a team of Keller Williams Realty. And I love to network with amazing women, especially. And that's how I met Kerri Miller, who is our special guest today, and she'll be leading this webinar. Kerri is an expert and a practitioner of Feng Shui. She founded Feng Shui Pathways, and she's the author of Feels Better, Flows Better, Feng Shui for Inspired Living. So she's an amazing wealth of knowledge, and I would definitely encourage everyone after, if you're not already, to follow her on social media because she's always posting really inspirational things, and you're going to see just how knowledgeable she is and how helpful she is. So I just a quick story before she takes over the microphone. My first experience with Feng Shui was when I was selling my first home. This is back in Los Angeles years ago before I was even a realtor. And we were having a tough time with selling our condo because it was a buyer's market. It was 2010. It's hard to imagine right now because we're in such a seller's market, but the condo was sitting and we weren't getting offers week after week. So I decided to get proactive and I looked into some staging, came across Feng Shui, and I followed some of the advice and some of the tips that I had found online. And wouldn't you know it, just, a few subtle changes, and we actually got a full price offer within a week. So I've been a believer ever since. But whether you're thinking of selling or just want to enjoy your home more, I think this is really, really helpful. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Kerri.
Thanks so much, Kerri. I'm really excited to be here. You guys, this is like such a fun thing for me to talk about. This is quite my jam. I really love talking about it. I am going to go through some slides, so I'm going to share my screen. There's going to be a couple of slides that you may, hold on, let me get to the right screen, that you may want to grab a screenshot of, and you're welcome to do that. So I would love to know, first of all, there'll be a slide for this in a second, but I would love to know how familiar you are with Feng Shui. And you can put in the chat box, if you're not familiar at all, put a 1 in the chat box. If you've kind of heard of it and you are interested in it, maybe give me a 5 in the chat box. And if you've used it and you have some Feng Shui cures in place, put a 10 in the chat box. I just love to know how familiar people are with it. And what we're going to talk about today is just a real small sliver of Feng Shui, and it's probably my favorite part of this topic. And it's about how you can use your home as a vision board for the life that you want to create. And so here's the little slide about your familiarity with Feng Shui. And I'll read through those comments in just a minute. We're going to cover quickly today. We're going to talk about what Feng Shui is. For those of you who don't really know that much about it, we're going to learn how to use the Feng Shui Bagua map, which is a tool we use in Feng Shui, and it's a great way to manifest. And then we're going to talk about some easy changes that can create, I'm actually going to minimize this, can create positive shifts in your home and in your life. Real quick about me, I'm going to skip through most of this. I'm a Feng Shui and an energy clearing practitioner. I'm super passionate about that. I already said this. The thing I want you to know about the version of Feng Shui that I practice is that it is a westernized version of Feng Shui, which means that I don't use a compass. There are different schools of Feng Shui, and some of them are directional based and they use compasses to find things. In my version of Feng Shui, we use the front door to orient everything. So in many ways, to me, it feels simpler for people. I did author my own book. I'm in the Massachusetts area, but I work with people all around the country. And I really think that Feng Shui is less about rules and more about making your space work for you. So I just want to jump up into the chat and see. So we have some threes, some ones, some fives. Yeah, a little. Okay, awesome. So there's nobody here who's really using feng shui and has Dorothea, very good, has some cures in place. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. You're going to get a really good look at your a new way to look at your home for sure, by listening in today. So my simple version of what feng shui means is that it's the study of how unseen energies flow through a space. And those unseen energies are called qi. It's also the way that qi flow influences how the space feels and how everybody who lives there feels when they're there. And it's also the practice of tapping into that energy and redirecting it in a way that's more beneficial for you and for your life. So, and just to give you a quick definition of that qi energy topic, it's this vital energy that animates all of life. And it's what makes water flow and wind blow and trees grow. But it's really important for you to know that everything is energy. So even an inanimate object like the pen in your hand or the glass of water beside you, it looks like it's not living and breathing, but it really is just another version of energy. And everything is energy, and all of that energy is connected. And so the energy of those objects that are all around us really have an influence over our personal energy field. And so you'll be paying attention to that a little bit more by the end of this, I think. So we're looking at qi flow in a space, and really, you know, if the energy is moving too fast, then you might feel anxious, and it might feel like money's going out faster than it comes in. Your health might be impacted in negative ways. Same thing if it's going too slow, then you might be tired or depressed or uninspired. And it will feel like money's not flowing, opportunities aren't coming your way. It can just too fast or too slow. It can be that life is just hard. And of course, when it's just right, then you have ease and flow and synchronicity in your life. And that's definitely what we're aiming for. So if you are leaving your office tired or waking up tired or feeling anxious or overwhelmed or experiencing health challenges, or just feeling stuck, I want you to think about whether or not it could be these unseen energies and how they're influencing you. It's easy to say, you know, I had too many cups of coffee, or work is really stressful, and to blame lots of other things. But really, there can be a very subtle underlying cause for all of this that's influencing how you feel when you're in your space or in your office. So we're talking today about vision boards, you know, and I think raise your hand for sure if you've made a vision board. I actually have a vision board in progress for 2022, but a vision board is that, you know, two-dimensional collage of images and words that represent your goals and dreams in life. But what we're going to talk about today is making your house a 3D reminder of what your goals are and what your dreams are. And we're going to talk about that using feng shui. And it's really, really powerful. I think about manifesting as aligning, you know, aligning your thoughts, what you want and what you're saying and how you're showing up and being. When all of those are in alignment, then manifestation becomes really easy. And I think when your home is also saying the same thing and sending the same message, it's kind of like an amplifier and really helps the universe to respond to what you want even more. And it helps keep you on track as well. So there are lots of layers to feng shui. It is a very wide and a very deep topic. Just like Kerri mentioned today, there, you know, in her example, people will use it when they're selling a home because they want the energy to feel good so that when potential buyers come in, they're not walking in and being like, well, the house is nice, but something felt off. Or somebody who's just purchased a home, you know, they have this blank slate. They want to make sure that the energy is good and that it's supporting them as they move forward. But really, we're just going to take a look at one tiny piece of that. And we're going to look at your floor plan, this Feng Shui Bagua map, and how to use it to manifest. So there's lots of reasons and ways to use Feng Shui, but we're just taking a sliver of it today. This is the Feng Shui Bagua map. If you want to take a screenshot of this page, you are welcome to do that. The Bagua map is a tool that we use in Feng Shui to identify areas of the space that are related to parts of your life. And those include work, love, creativity, financial abundance. And you can use this map to deliberately arrange and design the space so that you're supporting each one of these life areas the way that you desire it.
Anybody else?
Okay. I'm just going to pop in and see if anybody has questions. Okay. Yep. Great. So let me just go back to that for a second. One of the ways, if you're doing a two-dimensional vision board, one of the ways to kind of get yourself started with the two-dimensional vision board is to think in these 9 life areas, what is it that I'm calling in? What do I want to create? What are my goals for these different parts of my life? And then you can go and find those collage pieces and the quotes and words of inspiration and put them together on your two-dimensional vision board that reminds you and keep you on track for these 9 life areas. But what's really cool is these 9 life areas all have an energy center within your home. And I'm going to show you right now how you can use this map over your own floor plan to find those energy centers and start to be really deliberate and conscious about what you're putting and keeping in those areas so that you're helping to call in what you want to call in. So you would start by drawing kind of a bird's eye view of your floor plan. So you can pick one floor at a time and draw it out. This Bagua map is going to stretch, so it doesn't matter if your house is long and rectangular or deep and rectangular, or if it's simply square, or even if it's L-shaped. I'll show you an example of some not square-shaped houses in a minute. So you draw the bird's eye view, and then you can just take your map and divide it into almost like a tic-tac-toe board. So you're dividing it into 9 equal segments. And then those equal segments become the Bagua map. And you orient the map by the front entrance. So the front architectural front door of your house, I'm not sure if you guys can see my cursor or not, but this is the front door here on the image where it says enter. And always the front of the house aligns with this knowledge and insight, fulfilling work and support and adventure area of the map. And typically from the front door oriented, then the back left corner would be related to financial abundance and prosperity. And the back right corner would be related to love and partnership. And then you can orient the rest. And I have another example here. What's important for me to say here, I'm actually going to go back to the floor plan. You want to include everything that's underneath the roof line of the house. So for example, on this drawing, there's a screened-in porch, and that does have a roof overhead that's attached to the main part of the house. So that is included in underneath the Bagua map. If this was a patio instead, and there was no roof over it, then the Bagua map would just be drawn over those front 5 or 6 rooms. So, and the patio would be left off. And if you guys have questions, you can put them in the chat box and I'll definitely have time to answer them at the end. So this is another example of a different kind of floor plan, right? This has a garage that kind of juts off the front of the house. You're still going to stretch the Bagua map over the whole entire roof line, which means you're going to end up with some missing areas underneath. And you'll see that here. So in this example, this person who lives in this house is missing the energetic foundations for their career and their wisdom and higher education. And they're missing a little bit of the health area and a little bit of the family area. And so it's important, what you can discover by using this Bagua map is, there can be like flaws within the house, which aren't curses in any way, but it's important to know that that's happening, that you're missing something, that you're missing the energetic foundation for some of these areas, because it means that you might struggle in those areas a little bit more than you would if you did have the energetic foundation within your house. And you can correct for that using Feng Shui cures. But with this information in mind, now you know the parts of your home that relate to each one of these life areas. And you can go and be intentional about what's going on in those parts of your house and really enhance these areas to support the parts of your life that need the most support. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. It's really a treasure map to your house and a treasure map to your life. And you can use it to energize the parts of life that really, truly need it. So, the one thing I really want you to keep in mind is that especially for those of you who aren't that familiar with Feng Shui, even though you're not using Feng Shui and not aware of this, this treasure map or this vision board that your house is, it already is a vision board for your life. So the way your house is now is energetically reflecting what you have manifested so far. So whether you leave this call and decide to make changes that will shift the energy for the better or not, your home and the energy of your home is influencing all of these life areas. So hopefully I'm going to inspire you to go make a few changes. And what you want to do is just notice what's going on. First of all, notice if you have some missing areas and think about, well, yeah, those areas are missing from my Bagua map. Are they challenging for me? Is it showing up? Is it manifesting that it's a little bit harder for me? And there are some cures that you can make to fix that. You can also just go to that part of the house. Like say you wanted to increase abundance and prosperity in your life for 2022. And you figured out what the back left corner is of your home. Go to that area, go to that space and figure out what's going on in that section of your house. Because right now that's influencing the energy flow. So you might have a bunch of clutter there. And clutter is something that not only energetically impedes the flow of energy, but it also is a physical block that doesn't allow energy to flow very beneficially. And it can cause some of that stagnation and stuckness. So it's just important to figure out, is that what's going on there? Is energy not moving? Or could I make it move better so that I'm supporting that part of my life better? It's important to know where bathrooms and laundry rooms end up within your Bagua map, because those just have, energetically, they have a negative kind of a pulling away flow where they'll drain and leak energy from you. So they'll be more likely to be leaking energy from that part of your life. So for example, if you have a bathroom in your wealth corner, have you ever heard that term, money is going down the drain? That's literally what it is. The energy flow, the chi flow is escaping out through the drains in the bathroom. And that also is taking away potential prosperity from you. So it's just important to notice what's going on there. And once you know what's going on there, you can correct for it later. Is it reflecting something back to you? I can tell you it probably is. Like there's probably a message in that area, in that space. Again, using the wealth corner as an example, you might notice that corner is where you just dump all your junk and it isn't loved and it isn't appreciated. And that is in some way reflecting back the way that you appreciate the money that you have right now. Or it can be reflecting back some fears or doubts or limiting beliefs around the topic of money. So just sit with it and notice what comes up for you when you see what's going on in that part of your house. And then think about, is it sending the message that I want for that part of my life? So this is where the vision board part of it comes into it. Like knowing now that a part of your house is reflecting abundance and prosperity, and going to that section of your house and looking around, is it feeling rich and abundant? Is it reflecting the kind of richness that you want to feel in your life? Or are there ways that you could incrementally, slowly make shifts and adjustments that would make the space feel a little bit more rich, a little bit more lush to be in, and that would help amplify that energy that you are trying to attract more of to yourself? Hopefully that makes sense. Like you can, knowing what you know, you can go and change the message that you're amplifying out to the universe. And just notice, what are you called to change? One of the things that I suggest to a lot of my clients when they have a challenging room that they just can't figure out is to just go sit in the room for 10 minutes, sit on the floor in the middle of the room and get quiet and look around. And I guarantee you within a few minutes, something will start jumping out at you, or something will start kind of bugging you. And you'll know that that's something that isn't serving you, or that needs attention, or that needs to change a little bit. And some easy ways to change it up. Sit with it and see what it's telling you. Sometimes just becoming aware of the message, that maybe there are some reflections of, again, using that abundance area example, that there's lack, or fear around money. Learn that lesson a little bit and become comfortable with it and acknowledge it and take a little bit of the power away from it. You can also certainly clear any clutter that is building up in that space. Again, clutter there's a few things with clutter. First of all, it's a physical block that doesn't allow energy to move through a space. It doesn't really allow you to move through the space very freely. So that's a sign that the energy can't move very freely either. It's also, again, stepping back and thinking about that message at the beginning, that everything is energy. All of that clutter, even though it's sitting there and isn't necessarily loved or appreciated at the moment, it's still energetically connected to you and influencing you, not only on a physical level where you can see it and it's distracting, but also on an energetic level where it's really pulling some of your own personal energy and vitality away from you. And again, it's also symbolic of those blocks, like those inner limiting beliefs and those inner blocks that you might have. I actually had a conversation with a client offline the other day, and she was talking about how in her kitchen counters that, they constantly accumulate clutter. And in her particular situation, that kitchen counter falls in the part of her home that's related to recognition and visibility and her character and how she's seen in the world. And we talked about how the clutter is really symbolic of the fact that she has some doubts and some fears about showing up fully and visibly in front of people for the work she does. And so there's this awareness that you can start to understand about where you're, within you're feeling unsettled, and it's reflected in your space. And sometimes when it's hard to overcome those doubts and fears and emotions on the inside, when you start to clear the energy on the outside by clearing the clutter, it'll help to break up and create flow even within yourself. So it can help alleviate and make some of the mindset or energetic changes that you need to make within your own physical being a little bit easier, because you've cleared it up on the outside. Definitely you can show the area some love, You can clean it, you can organize it, you can move things around. You can take things that were kind of lost in the mix and highlight them and really make them shine a little bit brighter. It's really powerful to just shift some things around, like just moving things from one side of the room to the other side of the room, or shaking things up a little bit will change the way the energy is flowing, and will get some circulation moving, which calls energy into that part of your life. So, and you can do this for all 9 of the life areas. And you can definitely add in symbols of the changes that you're calling in. So this is where, again, that vision board starts to form, that 3D vision board. And I don't know if anybody remembers a couple of years ago when the Olympics were coming, there were a whole bunch of commercials about the Olympics. And there was one particular commercial where there was it's kind of a little boy's room, and it showed his bed, and right above his bed was a poster of some Olympic athlete that he looked up to. And he had like gold medals like drawn out on his walls. And then it fast forwards and it shows him being the Olympian at the Olympics a few years later. And so this is where that becomes the vision board for your life, where you can put posters and reminders and quotes and enhancements that really remind you of the goals that you have for each one of these 9 life areas, or the energy that you want to show up in each one of these 9 life areas, or the dreams or the aspirations or the things that you really want to manifest in these different parts of your life. You can put examples of or symbols of these things around you in these particular energy centers of your home, and really energize and call energy to that potential manifestation. It's powerful stuff. So I would love to know what changes you're inspired to make. I'm going to pop in here because I'm sure there's a couple of questions. And if you guys do have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen so that we can have a good conversation. Awesome. All right, I'm going to go back and answer the questions in the comments. And Kerri, I don't know if you're open to people just popping on and unmuting themselves. That's up to you, but I'll start with the questions that are in the comments. Sure. So Dee asks, the only things that she knows about Feng Shui is that your desk chair should not so your back shouldn't be to the entrance of the office. Yeah, so that's really a whole nother layer of Feng Shui, is looking at the way you have positioned yourself within the space and how you're being influenced by the energy that's flowing at you. And you can literally be deliberate about setting yourself up within your surroundings so you're receiving the best flow of energy, and it makes you feel more energized, more focused. You show up more powerfully in the work that you do, and you can even be perceived as more important. Like other people will perceive you as important when you make some of these adjustments and changes. Nicole asks, does it include stairways? It does, yes. So you may have a stairway that ends up kind of almost like corkscrewing through one of these life areas. The stairways are important because they shift the way the energy flows. So they kind of act like waterfalls, where when the energy is flowing, the water or the energy will fall down the stairs and away from you. So it can kind of pull energy from that particular life area where the staircase is falling in your floor plan. There are cures that you can put in place to help slow that energy down, and so it's not so forcefully draining away from you. Ruth says, I'm in an apartment and my door is on the right. Yep, so if your door is on the right, your front door may not fall in the center of the Bagua map. You may have a door that's off to the right, and so you may be entering your house through the support and adventure area of the map. That's okay. You may even have an indented door where you're entering it through, one of the second rows of the Bagua map. And it's important, Ruth, when you're in an apartment, you can pay attention to the Bagua map of the whole apartment, because it's kind of interesting to see, like from the bird's eye view of the apartment building, which one of the life areas your apartment actually falls in for the whole entire building. And then you can also do the Bagua map for your own apartment from the front door of your apartment itself. And somebody asked, how do you handle a front door that's at an angle? So that's interesting, because you'll normally you would align it directly with the front, with the way that the front door is angled. But in many cases, it really depends on your situation. But in many cases, I would orient it kind of the way the energy is coming towards the house. For example, if there's a walkway, like which direction is that walkway going in? That's the way I would orient the map. That can be a challenging thing to answer without seeing it directly. And it might be a challenging thing for a novice to do, because as a Feng Shui practitioner, there's a lot of different pieces of information that I would take into consideration when trying to figure out which way to orient the map itself. Todd asks, since most people enter their homes by the rear kitchen door, can the Bagua map be drawn to make that entrance the center or the emphasis? Nope, you actually really do want to use the architectural front door of the house to orient the map. That's really energetically where the energy originates for the house, and where the flow of the whole house is set up and oriented from. So it's just, I would just do it from that front door. And if you're not, I think it's really typical for people to not use their front door these days, because, some people drive into the garage and then come in through a side door, or they might park in the driveway and come in through a side door. But despite that, I would really encourage you to use the front door for some reason. So even if you opened it a couple times a week and you went out and checked your mail using the front door, or you let the dog out through the front door, that is where the energy is originating from the house. And just using the front door will help create a circulation of energy that will call more energy in your direction. You really want to call it to come towards you. And I like to think about this, like it's about attracting attention, like energy flows where attention goes. And so we want to get the attention of the energy. And if you think about driving down like an auto mile, all those car dealerships on the left and the right, and some of them might have big flags out front, and other ones have those, weird wavy balloon men that are like floating up and down, and other ones might have flashing lights. They're really trying to call energy into their business, into their front door. And you want to do the same thing with your house. The biggest thing with energy flow is to make sure that the energy is flowing towards you and that you're getting enough. And then once it gets in your house, that it can move freely through your space and energize and support all the different life areas of your home. So thanks for asking. That's a good question. Nicole says, my main entrance is in the middle of the floor plan. If I go straight, I walk into a closet. So would this facing the main, if I go straight, I walk into a closet. So would.
Yeah, so Kerri, if I come in and go and take 2 steps, I'm in the closet for my kitchen. So to get into my apartment, I step in and then step left. And then my apartment's literally like a big bowling alley.
Okay.
So I didn't know if I had to do am I literally leaving half of my apartment out of the Baju map, or am I turning to the right and applying my Baju map that way?
Yeah, you know what? I would honestly do it both ways, because you can kind of layer it in different directions. Just like, I'm going to tell you this because I can't see the space and I can't be sure, but I would say orient the map both directions and put cures for both. You know, like you can kind of put 2 layers of enhancements and cures in the space. I would want to see it to know for sure which way to orient it.
Okay, because then I just dropped another question. So the door I come in is the door that has street access. But
Okay.
what looks like a front door that has like a glass front and a deadbolt is my door to a shared patio, like a shared covered deck. So there's a roof on it, but there's no street access. So, or would I use that as my front door? Like you're saying, I mean, I do go out there. Well, not, I mean, I'm in New England and it's winter, so not right now, but normally I would go out there and I work out there. Like I have a table out there and I would eat out there and stuff. But
Yeah.
so would I orientate that as my front door?
So I would, is there like a, which one is easiest to you for you to access from the entrance to the apartment building itself?
The door in the middle of my apartment is what I use as my primary.
Yeah, I would use that one.
Okay.
That's the one I would orient from. And I would say, you know, primarily you're probably going to orient the map from the direction that that door orients, even though you're walking in and turning. I would still start by orienting it from that map or from that front door.
Thank you.
Okay. Jasmine asks, mine is similar, but it's on the left, plus it's L-shaped. Yep. So again, that L-shaped, if you're living in an apartment building, your part of your Bagua map can end up being in somebody else's apartment. And that's considered one of those missing areas that I talked about. So in that case, you really want to be aware that you're missing that area because you really want to do extra stuff to beef up that part of your life, like before it becomes a challenge. So, and the ways that you can do that, you can actually use this Bagua map in every single individual room. So from the entrance to, say, your living room, you can orient the map. And so if you're missing the wealth corner because the wealth corner falls in your neighbor's apartment, then go find the wealth corner in your living room and you can enhance it there. And you can put some really fun stuff to energize that part of your life in that corner of your living room, of your bedroom, of your kitchen. And you're making up for the fact that you're missing that foundation in the main part of the structure. Kerri says, how big is the wealth corner? Is it the corner or does it extend out at all? So it's generally, I mean, it will extend. First of all, what I will say is the lines between these life areas are not firm boundaries because remember, it's an energy center. So it kind of radiates out from the center. So they kind of blur against each other into the different areas. But it would be, you know, for every floor plan, it's going to be different. Like it's based on your square footage, but it's basically going to be 1/9 of your square footage. So does that help answer the question? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Nancy says, I put small mirrors on the outside of my bathroom doors. Both of my bathrooms are in the fulfilling work and health area and well-being, as well as the knowledge and insight. Yep. So when you have a bathroom, well, obviously you're going to have a bathroom in some area of the Bagua map. And when the energy of the bathroom is going to automatically drain and pull energy away from you. So if you are, if it falls in your wealth corner, it's going to be flushing money down the toilet. If it's in your love and relationship corner, your relationship can end up in the toilet. Like, have you ever heard those, you know, those sayings before? It's really about the energy pulling down and away from you. And Nancy, that's good. You know, having a small mirror on the outside of the door is one way to kind of just like deflect the energy from that negative pull a little bit. And then it's great if you can close your drains and keep the toilet lid closed because you're slowing the energy down and then also enhancing that bathroom to give it a reason to stick around. So the energy is going into the bathroom. And if you can distract it with some really high vibe, lush, beautiful things, it's not going to rush down the drain as quickly. And it's going to stick around long enough to give you a little bit of its benefit first. Nicole, can you do this for each room instead of the house as a whole? Yep. So that Bagua map can be used on each individual room as well. Okay. Carrie says, I think my front entrance needs some love. We have a treadmill in the foyer. Yeah. So here's one thing I would suggest, Carrie, is notice which way the treadmill is oriented and which way you're facing. Like if you're facing the front door as if you're going to run out the front door, that's actually working against the way you want the energy to flow in your house, because you want the energy to flow into your house. So if the treadmill has to stay there, I would turn it to make sure that you're actually looking and running into the house when you're on the treadmill. And you'll be helping to circulate energy into the space where you want it instead of back out the front door. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is oriented that way actually. So it's
Okay, perfect. That's
going
better. I mean, it's not the best enhancement for that area of the house, but it does have to go somewhere. So you can always work around it with some cures and enhancements or powerful symbols that help you achieve what you want.
Thank you.
Viv says, what's a good symbol for not just love, but a healthy relationship? Yeah, so I would just do some thinking about what a healthy relationship looks like to you. Maybe you go through, some magazines, or maybe one of the things I love to do in a love and relationship area is to like make that almost like a job description for the person that I'm calling in, or write out a love letter to the person who's coming into your life, so that you're really symbolizing what that loving relationship feels like to you. And that letter or that list can become your enhancement. But it could also be, noticing and looking for pictures of or artwork that depicts love or a loving relationship. Or it could be even something as simple as, two artwork that reflects a pair of something, like two flowers or two birds, can be really powerful to just reflect an equal partnership. Rox says, I would love to work more on the friendship area. Yep. So again, same thing, just really enhance that area. What does friendship mean to you? What kind of friendships are you calling in? What kind of relationships are you calling in? And you can start to think about symbols that you put in that space that when you walk by them, you remember, like you even feel that feeling of friendship, or you feel that feeling of love, and it helps to magnify that feeling within you, which then of course energetically sends that out to the universe, and that's what the universe is meeting. So the goal is that as you place enhancements within your space, they're reminding you of the energy you want to be in each one of these life areas, and then your home becomes this beacon for that kind of energy. I feel abandoned. How can I receive more friends? Yeah, so I mean, it's really about thinking about what kinds of friendships you want, and thinking about ways that you can symbolize that within your surroundings, and focusing on what you're calling in, that you're calling in more friendships, and trying to redirect the energy away from lacking friendships, right? So anything that you can do, like even if you were to find some books or some stories that were about love and friendship, and represented the kind of friendships you'd like to have. Maybe you don't have those in your life right now, but you can use those books and those stories as an enhancement that remind you of the kind of energy that you're calling in. Stephanie says, do you take the grid and put it on top of your layout, and those areas of life match the rooms? Yeah, well, they match a part of your house. They may not line up directly with your rooms because every floor plan is going to be differently, but they will. So you may have your abundance corner may end up falling in two different rooms if it's big enough. But yes, so you would orient it, and each one of those life areas is going to cover a part of your house, and then you can enhance that.
Kerri,
Yep.
can I ask one more quick question? That it's like a big drain on.
Yes.
It's like the big drain. So I have a big house. There's 3 floors, and then there's the basement. And in my basement, I have all my mother's artwork, who has passed away, and it's been there for like 12 years.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It's like I feel like I don't know how to I don't know what to do with it.
Right. So can you feel that, like there is this object, this artwork that seems to be inanimate, and but there's so much energy and emotion wrapped up in it, and see how it's impacting your energy. And
Yeah.
in this case, it's impacting it in a heavy way, in a negative way. And it's really that artwork that's down there is somehow symbolic of your relationship. It could be symbolic of the responsibility that you feel about making sure that the artwork is taken care of or appreciated. It could represent lots of things regarding the relationship that you had with your mother. And so, and you said it yourself, it's a drain on you. And so I would definitely recommend finding ways to cut the cord, like the energetic cord on those pieces. You could, I mean, you could do something that's like some energy work that's around cord cutting or energy clearing of the pieces themselves to help lessen the impact on you. Do you want to move those pieces on, but not sure how? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much and they're beautiful, and it's like her legacy, but and what you said is very true. Difficult relationship. It's yeah, responsibility. So yeah, I mean, energy clearing sounds like a good thing, but short of just taking it all and putting it in storage, I actually don't know what to do.
Yeah. And it's hard. Like you have to kind of come to terms with what you feel good about. I think that we tend to take a lot of responsibility for the destiny of objects. And one of the things that sometimes I like to encourage people to think about is that trust the universe. Like maybe you could, put a post out and say, I've got all this beautiful artwork, and start selling it or giving it away, and ask people who might be interested to come and get it. Think about the way that you could enrich somebody else's life by letting them have that piece. Whereas right now it's draining you and probably blocking the energy flow for you, but yet releasing it may bring lots of joy to somebody else. And just trust that the universe is going to bring the right people to you to take that on.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really powerful to think about how some of the objects we surround ourselves with can really be weighing us down and blocking us in lots of different ways. So
Thank you.
thanks for asking that. Yeah. Let's see. If your room is your apartment in a house, should you bagua your room and your door to it separately? Yep, you can do that. So if your real estate is just one single room and the rest of the space is taken up by other people, and you don't really have a lot of control over the rest of that space, I would just focus on the room that you can make adjustments to. So that's a good place to start. Homes that are more than one story, you just map you map each floor, and so they'll be stacked on top of each other, and it'll still orient from the front of the house. So the front of the house is going to be where the front of the map goes, and the front of the map is where that career line is. What are symbols for career, prosperity, friendship, peace? So I honestly would put that back on you. Like what symbols represent the kind of work that you want to do to you? What feels rich and abundant to you? What friendships feel, what does friendship mean to you? And what are some things that would enhance that feeling for you? What does peace feel like? For me, I'm thinking, for career, it could be job description. It could be diplomas that I've earned that support my career. It could be business cards or things like that. For prosperity, for me, I love to find natural abundance. So I'm always looking for things in nature like seashells and pine cones and crystals. Those are my symbols of abundance and prosperity. And to me, those, when I have a lot of those things around me, it feels like it magnifies financial prosperity as well. For friendship, again, it could be poem, a poem about friendship. It could be books about friendship. It could be artwork that depicts two people together. And for peace, I would say, what things bring peace and calmness into your life? So I know I kind of deflect that back on you, Viv, and I do that with my clients too, to be honest, because I don't want to be coming into your house and telling you, put this red statue here in this corner because it will bring you abundance. I really want you to look at whatever that enhancement is and really have it amplify the feeling for you. And so it's kind of like creating that two-dimensional vision board, having you, look and see which, magazine clippings you'd take and which quotes you would take. It's the same thing. Think about what would represent for you on that vision board. What could you also bring into your surroundings to remind you? Stephanie says, what if you have a back door that you come in all the time? Would you consider that a front door or not? I honestly wouldn't. I would orient it from the main front door of the house, because that is where the architectural energy is entering from and where the flow starts from in your home, even if you've altered it otherwise. Viv says, if there are bad things happening in life, like conflict, legal issues, any advice via Feng Shui vision board apart from orientation and decluttering? So I would say, Viv, if there are bad things happening, it is a sign that you're out of the flow of natural energies. When that chi flow is flowing at you, with you in a beneficial way, you are in the flow of life, and good opportunities and good luck and prosperity all come just a little bit easier. And when life is bumpy, it's a sign that the energy is bumpy too, and you're out of alignment with it. So I like to think of good luck and prosperity and love and health all being like at this frequency up here. And if you're vibrating at this frequency down here, you can't get to that level of ease and flow in prosperity and in luck and all of that. So it's a misalignment. So if you're having lots of bad luck and there's lots of conflict, it is a sign that you're out of alignment with that natural flow of energy. And it can be about just kind of raising your frequency up. And I would think of incremental upgrades or incremental shifts that you can make in your surroundings that make it feel better and flow better and help you align with another level of energy, right? It's just a misalignment. So the lack of conflict or the peace, the opposite of the conflict, is it's just a little bit out of alignment. And shifting things in your home, letting go of things that are related to that conflict or that are potentially holding you energetically in that conflict, are a great way to start letting go of the weights that are keeping you down low. So I hope that helps a little bit. I would try to keep anything related to conflict and legal issues as far away from your general living area as possible. So I wouldn't put conflict or legal documents around a conflict in your wealth corner, and I wouldn't put them in your career corner. The one place I would put them potentially is in the support area, and put them in that area with the intention that you're calling in support, beneficial support, to help those things resolve in the best possible way. And I wouldn't keep it in your bedroom. I wouldn't keep it in your office, like a place that you're in all the time. Try to keep it, because it's got really heavy energy, so keep it far away. Yeah, Dee says symbols of prosperity, health, friendship. Yeah, what does prosperity feel like to you, and what symbols feel rich and abundant? Like, think about, maybe you can think about someplace you've been that felt rich and abundant. Maybe you've gone on a spa vacation, or walked into a hotel and been like, wow, this feels so, luxurious. What were some of the little tiny elements that were there? Like maybe there were big healthy plants, right? Bring some big healthy plants into your space. Those help to bring that feeling into the space for you. What if what looks like my front door goes to my second floor deck and has no street access? I still think if it looks like your front door that I would orient the map that way. Yeah. Interested in the symbols of friendship. Yeah, I would look for pictures of like friends all gathering. I would even put like you could get 5 or 6 crystals and put them in a bundle together as the energy of friends coming together. Poetry about friendships, stories about friendships, writing down like how a perfect friendship would go for you, or remembering. It could even be like pictures of you and a friend together, or if you've had really supportive friendships in the past, maybe you put some pictures out of you and that person as a symbol of calling in more of that into your life. Love and partnership is in the corner, is in the bathroom. Yep. So you really want to keep that energy lifted up, and you really want to maybe add some love enhancements into the bathroom. Make it feel really loving and lush in that space. Yes, when I say wealth corner, it also means abundance and gratitude. So I kind of use those terms the same: wealth, prosperity, abundance, gratitude. Those are all the same to me. I will try to get the emails from Kerri and send you the Bagua map. And if not, Rox, if not, feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm Feng Shui Pathways on social media, and I'll get it to you that way. Yep. I'm confused as to how you can end up in your neighbor's apartment. So if you're, so Rox, if your apartment itself is not square or rectangle, like if there's an indentation, that indentation is probably going to either fall in one of the public spaces of the apartment building or in another person's apartment. So it's just like if you have a perfectly square or rectangular apartment, you don't have to worry about that. But a lot of times they're kind of like puzzle pieced together. And so when you lay that square or rectangle over your apartment, it's going to fall in somebody else's space. So how does the basement drain energy if it's cluttered? Well, so the basement, if you think about it, is really about the foundation of your life. Energetically, it's the foundation of your life. And if it's cluttered, it can be, so it's kind of like the lower part of your body, your ability to move forward in life, like to use your legs and move forward. That's what the basement symbolizes energetically in Feng Shui. And so if it's really cluttered, it's really weighing you down and really preventing you from being able to move forward in life. So it's just really heavy. And all of those things that are in there, it's not just physical items that are there, but there's a lot of energetic and emotional attachments to all of it. And even if you just think about it as a pile of stuff, like as a to-do list, like constantly, even if you're not fully aware of it, that clutter in the basement or in whatever room it's in is whispering to you and saying, you need to deal with me, you need to take care of me. And if you're, it's just like a drain on your energy, because there's a part of your mental bandwidth that is drawn towards that and being called by it. So that's how it's draining you. So many good questions, you guys. Thank you for asking such great questions.
Yeah, Kerri, I want to be respectful of your time. It's 7:01.
Yeah.
And you've been giving us such great information. I find it fascinating and I could listen to you all night, but I want to make sure that we don't keep you too long as well.
Awesome. I'll answer a couple more questions if you're okay with time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll jump off. And you guys, if you want to follow me, I would say go to Facebook and follow me at Feng Shui Pathways. I answer a lot of questions on Facebook. I do lives, and that's a great way to get more answers. So Amy says, when you're using the Bagua map in each room, should you reorient to the door of each room? Yes. So each room, the entrance is the way that you orient. So the entrance to each room is what you orient the map from. Your driveway is in the support and adventure area. How can you enhance the driveway? So it's really hard. You can't really, like if it were a useful outdoor space, like if it were a part of your yard, I might suggest creating an outdoor room or really using that space with a beautiful garden. But driveway is a driveway and you really can't put something in the way there. So what you want to do then is go to those individual rooms, find the support area in each individual room, and that's where you enhance it. Okay. And this will be my last question. Sorry, you guys, if I don't get to the next things, but I want to respect Kerri's time too. Is there only one Bagua map? I'm hearing you talk about different sections, I think. There's only one Bagua map, and it has 9 life areas in it. So the Bagua map, I actually have one here I can show you. So this is the whole Bagua map, but there are 9 sections in it. And so those are the sections that I'm talking about. Okay. I hope
Kerri,
that
can
answers
you
the
say your
question.
Instagram one more time, please?
Yeah, so on Facebook, I'm Feng Shui Pathways. That's FENGSHUI, Pathways with an S. And then on Instagram, I'm Kerri Miller Feng Shui.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I found you on Facebook and I saw you have a great offering right now for office space.
Yes, I am. So I have a $88 workspace energy audit going on right now. If anybody's interested in that, you can certainly message me through social media. It's really taking a quick look at your workspace from an energetics perspective and identifying where the leaks are, where the blocks are, and helping you come up with some strategies where you can shift things or change things or declutter things to make sure that you are energetically supported when you're working 5, 10, 12 hours a day in your workspace. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. All right. I'm going to pass it back to you, Kerri.
Thank you so much, Kerri. This has been awesome. And I just want to let everyone know that Kerri will be able to follow up via email and send you her information that way too. So you can definitely reach out to her and book a consultation or, do the energy clearing that she just mentioned, the special that she has going. And yeah, and stay in touch on Facebook too. So thank you so much, Kerri. This was awesome. I'm inspired and I hope you guys are too. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys. Nice to meet everybody. Take care.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
good night.
Thank you for running this, Kerri.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.